A moment no one saw coming, Hollywood icon Denzel Washington broke down and tears live on air. It was supposed to be just another fun late-night talk show. The crowd roared as Denzel walked onto the stage, confident, calm, legendary. The host greeted him with playful jokes and clips from his latest film. But behind Denzel's warm smile, there was a quiet weight in his eyes, as if his soul was somewhere far away. Then, halfway through the show, the host grinned and said, "We've got a little surprise for you tonight, Denzel." A live call from someone very far away. Denzel blinked, puzzled. What kind of surprise? The screen behind H&M lit up. A flag appeared, Burkina Faso. The audience murmured. Confused? Then a voice came through, strong, respectful, and gentle. "Good evening, Mr. Washington. This is Ibrahim Traoré, President of the Transition of Burkina Faso." Denzel froze. The room fell completely silent. For the first time in the show's history, you could hear the sound of a single breath held tight. No one, absolutely no one, was prepared for what would follow. Denzel's hands trembled as the president began to speak. His French-accented English calm yet deeply moving. "You don't know me, Mr. Washington, but when I was 14 years old, I was just a barefoot boy in Burkina Faso. I saw you in glory. I saw a black man not begging, not broken, but powerful, and crying for justice." Denzel's eyes blinked rapidly. The president's voice continued. "That night I told my mother, one day, I'll fight for people too just like him." The host sat stunned. Denzel covered his mouth. Ibrahim's words continued to flow. "Years later, when my people needed someone to rise, I remembered you, your eyes, your strength, your spirit. I didn't stand because I was fearless. I stood because you had shown me what courage looks like." Denzel's hand slowly dropped. His eyes were red, his voice cracked. "You're telling me I helped shape a president?" "No, sir," replied. "Ibrahim, you helped shape a man who refused to kneel to injustice." A single tear slid down Denzel's cheek. "Thank you, my brother." The crowd exhaled softly. But what Ibrahim said next stunned them all. Denzel leaned closer. The host sat frozen. "Tonight, I speak not only as a president, but as a man who owes a debt. And in Burkina Faso, when someone saves your soul, we do not forget." Denzel shook his head, humbled. "No, please, I didn't." But Ibrahim gently cut in. "Mr. Washington, I am officially inviting you to be honored in Ouagadougou. But more than that, I want to name a leadership school after you. A place where our children will learn to stand tall, just as I did by watching you." Gasps echoed again. The host whispered. "Wow," Denzel's voice broke. "Mr. President, I don't deserve that." Ibrahim smiled softly. "Exactly why you do." The call ended. The screen went black, and there in front of millions on national TV, Denzel Washington buried his face in his hands and wept, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming truth that a single life can ripple across oceans and generations. But this was only the beginning. Less than 24 hours later, Denzel was packing his bags. Burkina Faso was calling. And what awaited him would change his life and the world. He didn't sleep that night. He kept hearing Ibrahim Traoré's voice in his mind. His eyes remained red, even after the cameras had long stopped rolling. By morning, the internet had exploded. Denzel Traoré was trending in over 20 countries. Fans, journalists, and world leaders were praising the moment. Some even called it the most powerful TV moment in decades. But while the world reacted, Denzel packed not for a role, not for fame, but for something sacred. No entourage, no spotlight, just him, a small backpack, and a heart carrying more emotion than words could hold. As the plane lifted off, he gazed out the window. A journey had begun as the plane touched down in Ouagadougou. Denzel looked out the window and whispered to himself, "I don't know what I'm walking into, but I know I have to go." Back in the presidential palace, Ibrahim Traoré stood by a tall window, eyes fixed on the distant runway. One of his aides asked quietly, "Shall we inform the press?" Traoré shook his head. No cameras, no speeches, just truth. Something extraordinary was about to unfold, something neither man had expected. And in just 48 hours they would both cry again, but this time, together. When Denzel's flight landed, there were no flashing lights or velvet ropes, just silence. A single black SUV waited on the tarmac. Beside it stood one man, no medals, no fanfare, President Ibrahim Traoré himself. Denzel stepped down slowly. Their eyes met. In that instant, neither needed to speak. They embraced. As actor and president, but as brothers. Bound by a silent understanding. "I'm honored you came," Ibrahim said softly. Denzel replied with a gentle smile. "I didn't come as a star. I came as a brother." The SUV weaved through dusty streets, past markets, waving children, and sun-baked homes. Nobody knew who sat inside. They weren't headed for a palace, but a modest clay house, patched with tin. It's humble and warm. "This was my home," Traoré said as he opened the door. Inside, there was no opulence, just aged photos, a worn mat, and the stillness of memory. He handed Denzel a crinkled photo. In it, a young boy clung to the hand of an older woman. "She raised me when my parents worked day and night, fed me, bathed me, told me stories of resistance." He paused, then added, "And she's still alive." They drove further into the countryside. The winding road was lined with baobab trees, and silence sat between them like a third passenger. Denzel stared at the woman's picture, her smile wide, her eyes full of wisdom. "Where is she now?" he asked. "She still works," Ibrahim said quietly, "cleaning classrooms in a rural school. Says, God gave me legs ill. Use them till he takes them when they reach the school." It was worn but vibrant, filled with laughter and dust-kicked joy. Children played with sticks and cracked chalk. And then she appeared bent, but proud, broom in hand. The same woman from the photo. Denzel froze as she stepped into view. Ibrahim walked toward her. She looked up, tears welling. "Ibrahim, shh," she whispered. He rushed into her arms. "Ah!" They wept in each other's arms. Then Denzel stepped forward. She gasped softly, her hands trembling as they touched his face. You're him," she said, recognizing him. There, in the courtyard of a rural school in Burkina Faso, time seemed to pause. 3 souls, 3 lifetimes. One sacred moment that would echo across the globe, but what followed would shake the entire nation. Later, under the shade of an ancient baobab tree, the 3 of them sat Mahawa between Denzel and the president. Her back was bent, hands weathered, but her voice remained strong. She told stories of young Ibrahim, how he cried in her arms on cold nights, how he once gave her his only piece of mango because she hadn't eaten. Denzel listened quietly, emotion building in his eyes. Then she reached into the pocket of her old apron and pulled out a yellowed piece of paper, creased and fragile. "I kept this," she said. "It was a letter, child's handwriting. One day I will be a leader. I will find you, Mama. I promise." Ibrahim gasped. He remembered writing at age 9 on her birthday, after she gave him her only slice of bread. Denzel wiped a tear from his cheek. "She held on to hope," he said. "That's the purest kind of faith." Suddenly, a young boy ran over, barefoot, laughing, clutching a cracked plastic ball. "Mama, will you play?" And she did, laughing, barefoot, free. In that moment, something shifted in Denzel Washington. He wasn't just visiting, he had found something sacred. That evening, as they returned to the palace, the energy was different. No longer just a guest, Denzel was now family. But what was waiting next was even more powerful. Neither man spoke much. There was only stillness, heavy, thoughtful silence. Then Ibrahim Traoré rose to his feet. "I want to show you something," he said, "something no one outside my family has ever seen." He led Denzel through a quiet corridor within the palace. The stone walls echoed with the soft sounds of their footsteps. No guards, no entourage. Just the weight of something sacred ahead. At the end of the hallway stood a thick, weather-worn wooden door. Ibrahim unlocked it slowly. Inside was a small room, dimly lit, filled with shelves of old books. Handwritten journals, crumpled maps, And in the center one large framed photo, it was a photo of Mama Hawa and a young Ibrahim, laughter eyes shining with joy. "This," Traoré said softly, "is my real treasure room."
Ow.
Denzel stood in awe. Not of gold, not of glory, but of heart. Traoré walked to a small desk and picked up a weathered notebook. Inside were pages filled with shaky handwriting, his first ideas, his first dreams for a better Burkina Faso. "All of this," he whispered, "began with her. I am who I am because she believed I was someone, even when I had nothing." Denzel ran his fingers over the page, his voice low, reverent. "You lead like a son who remembers love." Traoré nodded slowly. "I want the world to know. True leadership isn't about power, it's about gratitude." The room fell silent. Two men, one from Hollywood, one from Africa, united by one mission, to honor the woman who shaped a president. And that's when Denzel had an idea. A quiet idea. A bold idea. At dawn the next morning, he sat alone on the palace terrace, watching the orange sun rise over Ouagadougou. Mama Hawa's face played over and over in his heart, her laugh, her strength, her humility. Ibrahim joined him, tea in hand. "I've been thinking," Denzel said. "Let's give her the honor she never asked for." Traoré smiled, hoping you'd say that. That afternoon, without media, without noise, they returned to the village school. It's time with a small, trusted team. Children gathered in the yard. Teachers stood in.